I'm a huge fan of vampire fiction, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that I absolutely love Casltevania games, at least the good Casltevania games, the 2D side-scrolling platforming Casltevania games, and Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis is probably my favorite, more or less, as far as I can remember. It's just a fantastic platformer, and it's about vampires, one of my most beloved genres in fiction. In Castlevania Bloodlines, you can play as two guys, one guy with a whip and the other guy with this trident type of thing, and I always play as the guy with the big weapon. I don't want to play as a whip. I never saw whips as a good weapon in any game. I know Indiana Jones had a whip, and I just never saw that as a useful tool to do anything. You can't really use it to swing from places in real life, and hurting someone with a whip, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, even some drunk guy at a club running at you and you'll be whipping at him, you might cause a few lashes, you might open up his skin a little bit, but it's not gonna knock him out, and if someone's angry enough, it's barely gonna stop them. If you have a giant-ass trident, you will stab a hole through someone's chest. This long weapon kind of starts off as a spear, and then it upgrades to a trident. But the whip, though, the whip always stays as a whip. Even at its highest level, it's basically just a whip with flame energy. There's also a bunch of different sub-weapons you can use in this game, like axes you throw, holy water, boomerangs. All these are really useful, especially for bosses when you want to be at a safe distance from a boss. You don't want to come in too close to use your weapon, because if you're close enough to use your weapon, chances are the enemy is close enough to use their weapon. The controls in this game are just, I don't mean to sound like a drag queen, but fabulous. You don't just use your weapon forward and backwards, you can use it in different directions. Up, down, left, right. When you're using the guy with the trident, you can actually power up, and then when you jump, you shoot yourself up with the trident and your legs, basically just plowing through anything that's directly ahead of you. It's a really powerful attack. It's a niche attack too. I mean, you can only really use it for things that are directly above you, but sometimes it's pretty helpful when a bunch of enemies, really annoying enemies, are like walking around on the floor directly above you, basically laughing at you, and you power yourself up and just burst through them like a bunker buster. Who's laughing now, skeletons? Who's laughing now? The game has this Gothic art style and level design. I mean, if they ever decide to make a good game based on a vampire movie, this is what it should look like. This would just be a beautiful game on its own, but it fits fantastically with that whole Dracula vampire universe. And the music accompanies the gameplay and the graphics perfectly as well. I mean, in terms of presentation, this is one of the most polished games on the Sega Genesis. It's exactly what you'd expect from a good vampire game. Great action, a whole slew of different supernatural creatures to defeat, and it's hard enough where you actually feel like you're in danger. You're not just walking through the game like John Matrix and Commando, just plowing through everyone with an automatic weapon. You will die pretty quickly if you're not using different strategies for not only the bosses, but even regular add-ons all throughout the levels. This is just a game that plays great, looks great, and will give you plenty of challenge. You can pick this game up, and basically your entire weekend will be set in stone. Castlevania Bloodlines for the Genesis gets a deserving stanburdman rating of a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching, my children of the night. Goodbye, my friends.